Good morning, my name is Maria Salas, and today I will be talking about technology and the correlation of that to drugs. To start this off, I would like to give an example of how technology has advanced in the past few years. Here we have Pong, the very first successful video game ever created. The video game was created by Atari in 1972. Fast forward to 47 years later, we have Battlefield 4, renowned as one of the most technologically advanced and high-definition video games ever created. In these two examples, we can truly see how much technology has advanced in the past few years. In a TED Talk by Jane McConaughey, titled "Gaming Can Make a Better World," she presented us with this picture taken by Phil Toledano. In this picture, she explained that this is a young boy who is about to receive an epic win. In this epic win, he's going to receive a range of emotions, mostly positive, such as achievement. This is incredibly important in an adolescent's life as it provides a sense of accomplishment. Although technology doesn't always have positive consequences, one consequence of technology has been the increased use of drugs, which is why I pose a question: to what extent has the promotion and distribution of illegal substances via social media and technology affected drug trafficking in the past 20 years? To begin researching this question, I have taken this statistic from TEF, a business statistical website. Here we see that in 2019, 79% of the United States population are on social media, as compared to in 2008, where only 10% was on social media. In this next stat by Statista, we see that 18 to 29-year-olds are the people most on social media, coming in at 89%. Followed by teenagers aged 13 through 18 at 81%. With these two statistics, we can see how much social media has expanded over the United States, as well as the audience that it is receiving. Social media offers a large platform to discuss, communicate, and distribute ideas amongst anyone, anywhere, at any time. This is extremely positive, although this has a negative consequence when it comes to drugs. Hamid Goetz, the president of the International Narcotics Control Board, said that illegal internet pharmacies have started to use social media to get customers for their websites. And another researcher who has researched this exact topic, Sarah Marsh, said that social media sellers use hashtags and emojis to indicate what they stock and share images of the substances. Through this research, as well as the statistics provided previously, we can see that adolescents and teenagers are the ones being most exposed to this content, as well as the ones that will continue to do more drugs, as they are the ones being influenced. Another aspect that is contributing to the drug trafficking and drug usage is the emergence of the deep web. 10% of the internet is named as the surface web, which is what we normally use on a day-to-day basis, which includes all social media as well as the other browsers such as Google and Chrome. Many people are surprised to find out, though, that 90% of the internet is named the deep web, or the unindexed web. Here, it is untrackable, the websites are untrackable, and therefore there has been many illegal websites posted on here. In the statistic by Common Sense Media, we can see that drugs are the leading things being sold on the dark web, coming in at 62%. And in this next statistic, taken by the same source, we can see the different types of drugs being sold, with the leading being cannabis and followed by pharmaceuticals and MDMA. This poses a large threat, as drug trafficking in the deep web is not only massive, but also very easy, which is why I'll take you through the steps into how to show how easy it is to truly buy these substances. The first step you need to take is to download a browser. Most people use Tor, and after you've done this, you must go to the website that you would like. There are websites ranging from human trafficking, drug marketplaces as shown here, and many other illegal websites. Here I have an example of the Silk Road. The Silk Road was the largest marketplace ever on the dark web, and in the 2 years that it was running, it generated $1.2 billion in revenue. Here you can see the different types of drugs being sold and the quantity of it. After you have picked what you would like to buy, you must proceed to checkout, and this is where it gets different from the internet. When dealing with the dark web, you are only allowed to use cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. This is because the money is untrackable and goes directly from the consumer to the seller, with no middleman such as a bank. Overall, drugs is a nationwide problem, and as technology advances, it will only continuously increase, which is why I believe that as a society, we must advance with it and find resolutions to these problems. The first resolution that I found was to research the dark web and try to track these marketplaces down. Although I have found that this is near impossible because the software involved in these marketplaces and these websites are some of the most sophisticated seen. And in order for people to be able to track down the thousands of marketplaces would take years to do and be very difficult, which is why I have come up with my final solution, which is derived directly from the solution taken for cigarette smokers. In the promotion of cigarette smokers, as we learned more about it and the harmful effects that it had on your body, we began to promote it using propaganda such as commercials, posters, and even going as far as posting the negative effects that it has on the labels. I believe that we can have a similar approach to this with drugs and show the adolescents truly how negative drugs can be in their lives and hope that it'll have the same effect as cigarette smokers, which will decrease the amount of kids that will want to try drugs, decreasing the demand of drugs, which will inevitably decrease drug trafficking. As Thomas Edison once said, just because something doesn't do what it planned it to do doesn't mean it's useless. And I believe that this is a great representation of technology. As I stated previously in the presentation, Pong was the very first video game created, less than 50 years ago. And now we have Battlefield 4, as well as the internet, as well as all the negative consequences that come with it. Although I believe that as a society, we will be able to use it to our advantage instead of allowing it to create all these negative consequences. In what we presented previously, we saw that adolescents, as well as anybody on social media, are being influenced by these drugs and drug trafficking. Although I believe that it does not define technology. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, got two questions for you. First up, was there evidence what evidence did you gather that you didn't use and why'd you choose not to use it?
So I gathered some evidence over how video games affect a child's mind and how it has positive and negative consequences towards them. Although I didn't use this because I just used the video games as an example of how technology has increased. For example, in the Jane McConigal TED Talk, she went into very deep depths of how video games can affect a person, but I just used the overall idea.
Okay, and then explain the level of certainty you are about your conclusion. Or solution, actually, I'm sorry.
Okay, solution.
Sorry.
So I believe that my solution is going to be very valid because we have seen it in previous examples, like I said, in the cigarette smokers. We have seen in many different statistics that there has been an exponential decrease, as well as we can see it in our day-to-day lives. And using that evidence from the decrease in cigarette smokers, I think that we can conclude that we can do the same with drugs.